because I mean there's always going to be an audience for people who never get into the charts. I mean, there's very few groups that we like between the three of us that actually do ever get into the charts anyway. There's just a few exceptions. Well, the charts are a reflection of obviously of like a general taste, and I think the general taste is usually pretty vile, and it's awful because most people are.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about what it is that I love about INFPs and the INFP personality type. Now, I used to think that I was an INFP. Actually, for quite a few years I thought I was an INFP. I do find that there are similarities between the types, and the types might be able to relate to each other, you know, in a few different ways. So everything that I share obviously is not you know, INFPs might not relate to, but it's just a few things that I've noticed within my friend and within other INFPs that I have watched on YouTube or know in real life, or are celebrities. So I find that INFPs tend to bring out a different side of myself that I don't really show to many other people, and it's kind of an explorative kind of side. I find that they will listen to your crazy ideas and encourage you to go for them. You know, they really can help you, or they help me, should I say, believe in myself. And I think there's something amazing about INFPs' willingness, or maybe I guess it's just like their nature, to stay very true to their core self, you know, their authentic self. They tend to have this uniqueness that kind of brings out the uniqueness in other people around them, because they want to be themselves and be accepted for who they are, and that encourages other people to do the same. It's like almost like they won't change who they are for anybody or anything, and that's something that's really admirable. And it's almost like with them being that way, it kind of encourages, you know, with them being very authentic, it kind of encourages and gives permission for other people around them to be themselves, their weird, crazy selves, and that's something that really brings out a side of me, like I said, that I don't really share with a lot of people.
So it makes me very happy, that shelf. I have tea in it and books. It really makes me happy, so I can't wait to get home and be with my shelf. Shelf.
That's a very creative name.
Yeah. Thank you, I'm a creative person.
And they're really quite non-judgmental in terms of, like, you know, treating everybody the same. They tend to literally go around being themselves with whoever they are with, which is something that I definitely struggle with. And it really does encourage you to, you know, accept who you are and just be yourself and feel comfortable doing that as well.
I've always been a big supporter of people like me, like the outsiders and the underdogs and the introverts, and in many societies it's the women, and some the men, and the children, the animals, gay people. You know, it can change from place to place who's being suppressed. So I've always been a big fighter for them, for us, because that's very important. And now it's kind of expanded. Now I'm seeing more and more how people that look like they belong, they also feel like they don't belong. You know, sometimes. So it's very hard to be. It's very hard to be a human, and I want to empower everyone, and just remind us and myself that we have a lot to offer. There's no use in feeling helpless or feeling small, because you can really offer the world a lot, and if everyone knew that, the world could be very wonderful, I think.
INFPs are typically really loyal friends. I have had many friends over the years who I have eventually, you know, either stopped speaking to because they're really so far out of my life that they have their own sort of thing going on, I have my own thing going on, and our lives never really cross. And, you know, I'm really bad at texting and keeping up with people, like, definitely very bad at that. But with my INFP friend, she is always there. And what I mean by that is she's always there for me. And she always makes the effort to be my friend and to stay in my life. And so that kind of encourages me to do the same with her. However, with plenty of other friendships, that is just not the case. I'm even in a place in my life where I don't want many friends because it's so hard to keep up with them, to keep up with work, to keep, like, family relationships, to, you know, keep up with, like, house stuff, and, like, I'm studying as well. There's so much going on in my life, and, you know, I like to have lots of free time. I like to do my own thing as well, so I really struggle to keep up with everything, and to add, like, extra friendships and those relationships into my life can be really difficult for me to do so. So I'm at a place in my life where I only want, like, I don't know, a couple of friends maximum, and then my partner and my dog, you know. So yeah, and she's just the one who's always stuck in my life, you know, never caused me any difficulties in my life. I've never felt like the relationship is a burden on me, and I really put that down to her being really loyal as a friend. I find that a lot of INFPs don't seem to think that they have a lot of talent. So they kind of put off more creative pursuits. But I want to tell you that if you're an INFP, you are already creative, just by being imaginative, just by daydreaming. That's already being that's already being creative. And just because you don't necessarily always put things into action, doesn't mean that you're not being creative. And to those who don't put things into action so much, which, you know, most INFPs tend to do something, you know, writing, drawing, painting, making videos on YouTube, you know, all kinds of different ways of being creative. There's so many. I would really recommend just trying out a few different things, seeing what you enjoy doing, and trying to pursue that a little bit further. You know, even if it is just taking photos, learning how to edit photos, you know, just something, I'd say that's fairly simple. I would recommend, like, putting it into action. Some of the best directors, artists, actors, musicians, philosophers, writers, poets are INFPs, and we all know the stereotype around the INFP artist, and obviously it doesn't apply to every single INFP. But I do think in the way that INFPs think, the way that they are very attached to emotional aspects, put their pain into art, is something that I have tried to do. It's difficult. I can do it, but the way INFPs seem to do it so naturally, like just put their emotions into art, and to sort of explain the way that they are feeling inside, you know, through like poetry, lyrics and things like that, is incredibly admirable. Like taking something that hurts and making it something beautiful is something truly amazing.
And so I grabbed pen and paper and I started to write, just started to think about this poem that was just when you feel sad, but when you do it in a delicious way. Mm-hmm. And okay, so I'll read it. Ode to Happiness. I draw a hot sorrow bath in my despair room, with a misery candle burning. I wash my hair with regret shampoo after cleaning myself with pain soap. I dry myself with my gorgeous white 100% and it will never change towel, then smooth on my I don't deserve lotion and I hate myself face cream. Then I put on my alone again silk pajamas and go to sleep. When the hue has gone blue and you can't quite grin and bear it. Let this word picture remind you it can always be worse. And that's it.
You've got some paint on your eyes there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a bit of war paint you've got going on
Yeah,
there?
it is kind of.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor for showing your inner emotions on the outside, like the tears and the smile wrinkles that I like so much. It's so cool when people get them. I can't wait to get mine for real.
I think one of the things that I really, really like about INFPs is the fact that many of them are philosophers, natural philosophers, not necessarily ones who go about doing it academically. So it can make for some very interesting conversations about the deeper questions of the world, which I don't understand why people aren't fascinated by the deeper questions of like who we are, what are we doing here, you know, things like that. INFPs really care about things on a deeper level, and I really admire that because, you know, I do as well. And so it's really nice to have somebody who I can talk to about things like that. A lot of INFPs want to make the world a better place, and that's really admirable. Sometimes that just looks like, you know, advocating for a massive cause, and sometimes that just means making life better for yourself and other people on a day-to-day basis.
But people will always have an idea of who they think you are, and often it's inaccurate or not wholly accurate, and you mustn't let them change your own sense of who you are. Protect that with everything you have, because all those people who think they know who you are didn't do the work and they don't know. So have that faith in yourself.
I kind of struggled to make this video because there was so many different things that I could come up with to put into a video that I didn't want to make it too long, so I just picked a few of them. And yeah, let me know what you think, and I will see you again in the next video.
But we cater for say, a certain aspect or a certain type of person, a certain aspect of their personality, which a lot of people subjugate through necessity because they have to either work or... It's generally work. I mean, there's no or. Once you start to work and life becomes a struggle for existence, which I mean in England is the most prevalent thing anyway. Once you start, you stop to reason why you're bothering to go out to work to earn money, to eat, to go out at the weekends, enjoy yourself. I mean, that whole thing, as soon as you're trapped in that, unless you make a conscious effort to break away from it, then I think in a way that you start to, you know, just like close off certain sides of your character, of your personality, and I think that's those aspects are the ones that we cater for.